Mystery, it seems, is always afoot, and ever since our ancestors crouched around campfires out in the deep dark wood whilst wolves and other such monsters howled into the night, our civilization has been obsessed with the relentless pursuit of long lost magical kingdoms, places of power that have been hidden from human sight to shield their otherworldly riches from unworthy, prying eyes. Folklore has been the foil to our society for time long forgotten, but within that eternal canon, brave adventurers and unassuming heroes alike have been tasked with discovering some of the most mysterious and unobtainable locations in folklore. So, in that case, I guess we better give it a shot of our own and take a look. Hello horror fans, what's going on? And once again, welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. As per usual, I'll be your horror host, Jack Finch, as today, we curiously take a look at the top 5 most mysterious places in folklore. Roll the clip. For the curious amongst you, that clip was of course from 1999's Sleepy Hollow, a fantastic horror-fueled foray into folklore as Ichabod Crane gingerly took an axe to the Tree of the Dead moments before finding out that the Headless Horseman had a habit of storing human heads like a particularly greedy squirrel. And really, I'll use any excuse to give a shout out to Sleepy Hollow because it's an awesome film and we're all about setting the tone over here at Top 5 Scary Videos. So in that case, tone set. Let's begin. Kicking off at number 5, Baringan City. And for our first entry, we're heading over to the northern Samar province of the Philippines, where for hundreds of years local legend and whisperings of folklore have spoken about a place that seemingly doesn't exist within our dimension but is instead a portal to another realm where the supernatural encantos, the enchanted supernatural beings of Filipino myth and legend, reside. Some refer to this mysterious place as the Black City or the Invisible City, but in the language of Waray, the local tongue of northern Samar, the literal translation of this place is where one finds the lost. Geographically speaking, the actual location of this mysterious place is considered by many to be pretty definitive, and Baringan City allegedly exists in a location off the coast of Gandara, Tarangnan and Pangsanghan in the murky depths of the North Pacific Ocean. In fact, not only that, but a number of people have actually claimed to have seen this city, which only ever appears at night in a strange array of bright glowing energy. Many sailors have claimed to have seen a dazzling city of light appearing in the distance on moonless nights, only shimmering in the distance if only for a few brief moments. They describe it as a dark, beautiful city with high-rise towering buildings equipped with some strange advanced technology. In fact, several years ago there were numerous reports of a Japanese mining company capturing satellite images of a series of brightly lit islands off the coast of northern Samar who believed it to be rich deposits of gold and uranium. Obviously, as mining companies are apt to do, they began work immediately, setting up a large worksite in the town of San Jorge, sending boats out to the location where their satellite images had captured the lights. Strangely enough though, the town of San Jorge and the mining company was soon plagued with a series of mysterious accidents and mishaps, and within mere weeks the company was forced to shut down the operation in fear of bankruptcy. Now, I'm not saying what they found was definitively evidence of Baringan City, but I'm also not saying that because it's pretty interesting, right? Swinging in at number 4, Kadesh. And this particular bastion of folklore is equal parts awesome and equal parts something straight out of a fantasy novel. As the legend tells it, beneath the waters of Lake Svetloya of Nizhny Novgorod Oblast in central Russia resides a town of unimaginable ingenuity that has remained undiscovered ever since its creation sometime in the year 1200 AD. And that's down to the fact that the invisible town of Kadesh has an uncanny habit of submerging beneath the waters of Lake Svetloya at will. Yeah, isn't folklore awesome? As the legend goes, in the early 13th century, the Grand Prince of Vladimir Yuri II built a town known as Mali Kadesh or Little Kadesh on the banks of the Volga River. Later on, after the town found great success and fortune, Yuri decided to cross the other rivers that flowed from the banks of the Volga, where he found an even more beautiful spot on the shores of Lake Svetloya. According to Russian folklore, that's where Yuri decided to build a town even greater than Little Kadesh, where he named this one Bolshoi Kadesh or Big Kadesh. Soon after its construction, the two towns of Kadesh became a place of such immense success that they drew the attention of the Golden Horde, the Mongol army under the leadership of Batu Khan that had already conquered vast portions of the Russian lands. As the legend goes, the Mongols quickly captured and ransacked Little Kadesh, forcing Yuri II to retreat back through the hidden passages of the woods to Bolshoi Kadesh. The Golden Horde quickly found him though, sheltering in the town on the shores of Lake Svetloya, but as soon as the army approached the town they found no fortifications, just a bunch of villagers in the square on their knees praying. Thinking they quickly got the upper hand, the Golden Horde charged at them, but suddenly countless fountains of water burst from beneath the ground as the army were washed back, witnessing the town of Kadesh submerge itself fully into the lake before disappearing entirely. Some say that still to this day you can still hear the chiming of bells and people singing from beneath the waters of Lake Svetloya. Russian Atlantis? Who knew? Next up at number 3, High Brazil. And for this one in particular, we're heading over to a mystical, magical realm that allegedly existed off the western coast of Ireland, a breathtaking place of immense natural beauty, and also home to some of the most awesome instances of folklore going. Although this one is perhaps a somewhat lesser known location of local legend and is shrouded in mysteries of both the physical and the metaphysical. And also, no, not Brazil as in the very real place that exists in South America. In fact, the actual etymology of Brazil or High Brazil is relatively uncertain, but is thought to have come from the Irish word we Briseal, which means descendants of the clan Briseal, one of the ancient clans of Ireland. As the legend tells it, High Brazil is a phantom island that is said to lie somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. An Irish myth describes it as a place cloaked in mist that appears for only one day every 7 years. Despite that though, strangely enough, the island itself appeared on a number of nautical maps dating as far back as 1325, and up until the late 1800s was considered to be very much a real place. So much so, in fact, that in 1480 expeditions for the island of High Brazil set out from Bristol, where although the historical records are murky, a captain known as John Cabot was noted as actually discovering the place. A few hundred years later, in 1674, a Captain John Nisbet claimed to have seen the island whilst travelling on a voyage between France and Ireland, stating in his personal records that the island of High Brazil was a bizarre place populated by large black rabbits and a lonesome magician who lived in a tall stone castle. He claimed to have glimpsed the island just off the coast of the Isles of Arran. In fact, talk of the island of High Brazil became so widespread in folklore afterwards that it was considered by many to be the other Atlantis, evidence of a long forgotten sunken empire that resided in the deep waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Again, strangely enough, in 1862, High Brazil was considered to have been identified as the Porcupine Bank by the Geological Society of Ireland, a series of cold water reefs that appear 200 miles from the coast of Western Ireland. Many consider the reefs to be evidence that the sunken island of High Brazil was once a very, very real place. What do you guys think? Coming in at number 2, Denas Emrys. And for this one, we're staying firmly in the British Isles with perhaps one of the most mystical and magical places in the equally magical realm of Wales, a place of such ancient mystery steeped in folklore traditions and Celtic mythologies that there's quite a few places to choose from when it comes to the mysterious places of folklore. But this one, Denas Emrys, is perhaps the most incredible, and also, strangely enough, perhaps the only entry on this list that has the archaeological credibility to back it up. That's a bold claim, right? But let me explain. As the legend goes, the warlord Vortigern, king of the Britons, fled into Wales to escape the Anglo-Saxon invaders sometime in the 5th century. Expecting some bloodthirsty battle, he chose a lofty hill fort to defend his royal retreat that resided in a rocky and wooded hill near Gwynedd in northwest Wales. Every day, Vortigern's men worked their fingers to the bone trying to erect the first stone tower of the fort, but the next morning they would find their work crumbled and collapsed in a heap. This continued for weeks on end to no avail, and in a final act of desperation, Vortigern was advised to seek the aid of a young boy that lived in the woods. A young boy not conceived by a mortal man, and after sending his soldiers out into the Welsh valleys, eventually they found him. His name was Denas Emrys, who you may also know by his other name, Merlin Ambrosius, as in, yes, that Merlin of Arthurian legend. Now, the young Merlin quickly diagnosed the king's dilemma and informed him that beneath the mountain were 2 verms or dragons, one white and one red, one that represented the Saxons and fought for them, but would soon be defeated by the Red Dragon of Wales. While Vortigern wasn't the wisest of kings and ignored Merlin's advice, which quickly led to his downfall, but Welsh legend believed that the Red Dragon remained at the fort, which after Vortigern's downfall was constructed to near perfection following Merlin's design. Strangely enough though, in 1954 and 1956, 2 excavations of the alleged site of Denas Emrys were undertaken, and researchers were surprised to discover that not only were the foundations of the alleged fortifications found, but that they carbon dated to pretty much the precise time that Vortigern ruled in Britain. Yeah, this place is pretty magical in more ways than one. And finally, coming in at our number 1 spot, El Dorado. Because we can't talk about mysterious places without giving an allusion to one of the most renowned locations in the murky mysteries of humankind, El Dorado, the city of gold. A place that was once considered to be a man, a mythological tribal chief of the Muisca people, whose legend then morphed into a city, then to a kingdom, and then finally an empire of pure gold and riches untold. Although it was considered to be disseminated across South America by mere whispers, countless rumors that have since morphed into an unreachable legend as the Spanish conquistadors plundered their way through Colombia, Venezuela, and portions of northern Brazil. There is no denying the fact that El Dorado is the holy grail when it comes to mythology, folklore, and the relentless pursuit of human adventure. Throughout history, the concept of El Dorado has undergone several transformations, eventually being combined with the mythologies of several legendary lost cities, many of which may be entirely true. However, perhaps the strangest part of the El Dorado legend is that there may already be credible evidence to at least its existence. Although it was dismissed entirely in the 19th century as a myth, the legend has been tied to Lake Prying, a place that allegedly became the gateway to the Golden City, but was since closed off to prying adventurers. Strangely enough, though, evidence of the existence of Lake Prying was discovered in 1977. Researchers discovered watermarks of an ancient lake along the surrounding hillsides where Lake Prying was considered to be, and geological studies corroborated the fact that 700 years prior, in 1690, a massive earthquake had opened up a huge bedrock fault where the lake should have been, forming a rift that caused the lake to disappear completely. I mean, that sounds like a pretty convincing way to lose the entrance to a vast golden city, right? Well, unless it's been discovered already. Who knows? Well, there we have it, horror fans, our list for the top 5 most mysterious places in folklore. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree, have any more to add to this list? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, as well as any choice picks of your own. Before we depart from today's video though, let's first take a quick look at some of your more resounding remarks from the past few days. First up, Michael Sansevero says, please never stop with the horror themed dad jokes, and can you give a shout out to my kids, Eric and Luke, who are both huge horror and top 5 scary videos fans as well. Of course I can, Michael Sansevero, consider it done. It's done. Also, what's up Eric and Luke? Many thanks for the support. Have a good one. On that note, that's all we've got time for in today's video. Just stick around all the way until the end. If you were a fan of this video or just top 5 scary videos in general, then please be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, as well as that subscribe bell, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. As per usual, I've been your horror host, Jack Finch. You've been watching top 5 scary videos, and until next time, you take it easy.